Welcome to today's story, dear listener. Imagine the world of ancient Greece, full of myths and shining legends. The air is warm, temples stand tall, and people look to the skies for guidance from the mighty gods above. Among them shines Athena, a goddess unlike others, carrying wisdom brighter than the sun on clear seas. She is calm, thoughtful, and graceful, a presence that inspires humans and gods with her radiant mind. Athena is known as the goddess of wisdom, strategy, and bright ideas that light the way through darkness. Unlike gods of thunder or fire, she does not rely on loud power, but on reason, clarity, and creativity. She chooses peace when others choose war, and she offers guidance when others choose confusion and fear. Her symbol is the owl, quiet and sharp-eyed, reminding us of the vision that wisdom can always bring. Her gift is the olive tree, a promise of peace, nourishment, and endless strength for the city she loved. Tonight, we will follow her footsteps, from her miraculous birth to the stories where her wisdom shines. Athena's tale is not about battles, but about bright ideas that shaped heroes, cities, and even our world. So lean closer, listen well, and let us step into the story of Athena, the goddess of bright ideas. In the beginning, there was silence in the golden halls of Olympus, yet change was quietly stirring within. The gods moved through their days with power and splendor, unaware of the bright spark waiting to be born. Zeus, the mighty ruler of heaven, had been troubled by a dream that told of a child unlike any other. This child would not roar with fire or thunder, but shine with wisdom, reason, and a clear guiding light. The dream weighed heavy on Zeus, for he knew destiny was moving and something extraordinary was near. Soon, the moment came, and from Zeus himself emerged Athena, sudden and radiant, without warning or fear. She did not arrive as a fragile infant, but as a grown goddess, strong, brilliant, and filled with clarity. Her armor glimmered like sunlight on polished stone, yet her face shone with calm thought and gentle grace. The gods gasped in wonder, for never before had such a birth brought both awe and serenity at once. Athena stood tall, already wise, her eyes clear as a mountain spring, her mind sharper than any blade. Unlike other divine arrivals, she brought no storm, no quake, but instead a sense of balance and calm. From that very moment, she was different, set apart as a goddess who would guide through ideas, not force. The halls of Olympus echoed with curiosity. For what did it mean to be born full-grown and wise? Some gods whispered that she was a gift of clarity to balance the heat of conflict and rash tempers. Others marveled that her birth carried no cry of pain, but instead a promise of peace and bright thought. Athena herself spoke little at first, for her wisdom rested not in loud words, but in quiet strength. She lifted her gaze to the sky, as though seeing beyond Olympus into the lives of mortals far below. Her eyes held vision, her stance held calm authority, and her presence carried a harmony none could deny. In her birth was a message. Wisdom does not stumble. It arrives ready, steady, and clear as the dawn. She became the goddess of wisdom, strategy, and the bright spark that turns thought into action. Athena embodied the balance between courage and caution, between power and the peace of reason. Mortals would come to honor her not for thunderous strength, but for the brilliance of her bright ideas. Her sudden birth became a tale told across generations, a story of light born from silence. It taught that wisdom may come in surprising forms, arriving fully alive, ready to guide and protect. Athena's birth was no accident. but the shaping of a goddess destined to inspire heroes and cities. The gods themselves knew that her presence marked a turning point in how wisdom touched the world. From the moment she stepped forth, Athena became more than a child of Zeus. She became a symbol eternal. Her story begins not with noise, but with clarity, a reminder that greatness can shine without chaos. Every telling of her birth carries the same awe, the sudden arrival of brilliance, calm, and radiant thought. In the world of myths, her beginning stands unique, a birth not of weakness, but of instant purpose. And so, from Zeus's dream to reality, Athena entered the world, whole, wise, and endlessly bright. This is where her story starts, and from here her wisdom would ripple through time and memory. Her birth was not the end of mystery, but the first spark of a goddess whose ideas lit the world. Athena grew quickly in honor, not through force, but through the brilliance of her calm and thoughtful mind. Among the gods, she was trusted as one who could see clearly when confusion clouded the judgment of others. Her wisdom was not dry knowledge, but living insight that could guide choices in moments of uncertainty. The gods admired her ability to balance courage with caution, never leaning too far into fear or recklessness. She was not known for shouting commands, but for speaking words that carried weight and quiet authority. Where others rushed into conflict, Athena paused, reflected, and found a path that served both reason and peace. This gift made her the goddess of wisdom and strategy, the one who shaped ideas into powerful solutions. She was not against strength, but she believed strength without thought was a river that quickly overflowed. In councils of Olympus, when debates grew heated, Athena would rise with calm and settle storms of pride. Her voice was steady, her words precise, and her ideas often turned quarrels into plans of harmony. Mortals heard tales of her reason and began to look to her as a divine mentor in times of difficulty. She became known not only as wise, but as practical, a goddess who could turn thought into clear action. Warriors sought her blessing not for rage, but for strategy, the careful guidance that led to true victory. She reminded them that a battle is not won by numbers alone, but by foresight, patience, and clever design. Athena's wisdom was also a shield, protecting mortals and gods from mistakes born of haste and pride. Her mind was like a lamp in a darkened hall, casting light where fear and confusion tried to take root. Every story told of her wisdom highlighted her ability to see both the visible and the hidden threads. She understood not only what was before her eyes, but what might come if one path was chosen over another. This made her more than a counselor. She was a guardian of balance between impulse and thoughtful action. Her guidance became a treasure, and many came to see her as the embodiment of intellect itself. Athena's strategy was never cold calculation. It was warmed by fairness and guided by a sense of justice. She valued peace above conflict, but she knew that wisdom sometimes required firmness and bold steps. Her clever plans often avoided needless struggle, allowing outcomes that saved time, lives, and effort. To mortals, she was proof that the mind, when used well, was stronger than the fiercest sword. She carried her shield, the aegis, not as a weapon of aggression, but as a symbol of protection and foresight. Athena's way was to guard, to guide, and to show that true strength lies in clarity and bright ideas. Even the other gods began to respect her balance of calm reflection and decisive, purposeful action. When Zeus himself needed counsel, it was Athena he often turned to for wisdom without pride or anger. Her reputation spread across heaven and earth as a goddess who valued reason above reckless desire. Through her, mortals learned that strategy was not trickery, but the art of using thought to build harmony. she became a model of wisdom, showing that to think deeply was to act with true power and confidence. Athena's role as goddess of wisdom and strategy made her a light in a world often clouded by impulse. Her story teaches that ideas, when shaped with care, can lead not only to success, but also to peace. From her seat on Olympus, she watched mortals with patience, always ready to inspire a clever mind. Her wisdom was endless, her strategy timeless, and her presence forever a guide for those who sought clarity. This was Athena, the goddess who proved that the brightest victories are born not from strength, but from thought. Long ago, the people of Attica sought a protector, a divine patron to guide their city and bless their land. The gods of Olympus looked down with interest, each hoping to offer a gift and claim the hearts of mortals. Among them stood Athena, wise and calm, and Poseidon, lord of the sea, bold and powerful in his pride. Each wished to become the guardian of the city that would one day rise into greatness and lasting fame. The contest was set, and the people waited to see which gift would bring true prosperity to their lives. Poseidon strode forward first, striking the earth with his mighty trident before the gathered mortals. From the ground sprang a fountain of salt water, rushing upward with the roar of the endless sea. The people gasped at the sight, for it was power, strength, and a reminder of Poseidon's ocean rule. Yet the water was bitter, not fresh, and it held little promise for farming or daily life upon the land. Though it showed majesty, the gift was not one that could sustain a city or feed the hands of its people. Then came Athena, quiet in her step, her gaze thoughtful, her heart steady with wisdom and foresight. She reached her hand to the earth and planted a seed, small and simple, almost unnoticed at first. From the soil rose a tree, its trunk firm, its branches strong, and its leaves shimmering silver in light. It was the olive tree, a gift of nourishment, of wood for building, and of oil for light and food. The people watched in wonder as Athena explained the blessings hidden within this humble gift. The tree would give food to the hungry, oil to burn in lamps, and wood to craft homes and tools. It would endure season after season, standing firm against wind, time, and all that might come. The olive was not a display of raw force, but a promise of peace, growth, and lasting prosperity. The people of Attica chose Athena's gift, for they saw in it not pride, but wisdom and true care. From that day forward, the city bore her name, Athens, a place forever tied to her bright spirit. The olive tree became a symbol of peace, of renewal, and of the wisdom that sustains life itself. It was said that wherever olives grew, Athena's hand was present, guiding and protecting the land. The Parthenon would later rise in her honor, but the first monument was this living tree of light. Generations tended the sacred olive, remembering the day Athena gave them more than strength. She gave them hope, endurance, and a way to thrive in harmony with the gifts of the earth itself. The story of the contest spread beyond Athens, teaching others the value of foresight over pride. It showed that true guardianship is not about power displayed, but about what lifts people higher. Athena's gift became a lesson that the strongest city is built not on force, but on wisdom and care. The olive tree's roots reached into the soil, while its meaning reached into the hearts of mortals. It became a living reminder that ideas, simple and steady, can shape the destiny of an entire people. Poseidon's fountain faded, its salt waters a memory, but Athena's olive endured through all ages. Her choice was quiet but timeless, a reflection of her nature as the goddess of bright ideas. Athens grew, flourished, and carried her spirit in every act of art, thought, and civic life. To this day, The olive branch is known as a symbol of peace, a direct echo of Athena's first gift. Her wisdom was not in showing what dazzled the eyes, but what would nurture life for centuries. The people knew they had chosen well, for the olive tree became their strength, their heritage, their light. Athena's gift was more than a plant. It was a vision of how wisdom can root itself into the world. And so, the city of Athens, under her name, carried her spirit as a beacon of thought and resilience. The contest ended, but its lesson remained eternal. The brightest gifts are those that help life endure. Athena's wisdom was never locked in Olympus. It flowed down to earth, guiding heroes through their long journeys. She did not march beside them with sword in hand, but whispered insight, shaping paths with clever foresight. One of her most beloved mortals was Odysseus, a man of quick thought, courage, and restless invention. When others saw only obstacles, Odysseus looked deeper, and there Athena's light often showed the way. Their bond became legendary, a goddess of wisdom guiding a mortal through storms, trials, and endless seas. During the long Trojan War, many sought strength in spears, but Odysseus relied on wit sharpened by Athena. It was she who inspired the idea of the wooden horse, a plan built on cunning rather than brute force. Through this cleverness, the war came to an end, not with endless bloodshed, but with an idea that triumphed. Athena's hand was not in the building of the horse, but in the spark that turned thought into daring action. She showed mortals that brilliance lies in seeing what others cannot, and turning imagination into reality. Odysseus, though brave, knew well that without Athena's guidance, his ideas would be scattered like dust. Her presence reminded him that true strategy weaves patience, timing, and insight into every decision. But her care for him did not end with the war. She continued to guide him on his long voyage home. Through storms, strange lands, and encounters with the unknown, Athena's wisdom became his constant light. When despair weighed heavy, she offered courage, not through command, but through steady reassurance. When arrogance tempted him, she tempered his pride with reminders of humility and thoughtful restraint. Athena's guidance shaped not only Odysseus, but many other heroes who walked uncertain roads. Perseus, too, received her wisdom, carrying gifts and knowledge that turned danger into safe passage. She gave him a polished shield, not as a weapon, but as a mirror to see what could not be faced directly. With such gifts, Perseus learned that strategy is not always attack, but often a matter of perspective. Athena's way was subtle. She empowered mortals to succeed through their own cleverness and courage. She never sought glory for herself. Instead, she let heroes rise, carrying her lessons within their hearts. Mortals loved her, not for thunder or terror, but for the guidance that made them stronger in their own right. Each story told of a goddess who stood not above, but beside, offering ideas that could change fate. Her role was not to shield them from hardship, but to give them the wisdom to endure and overcome. Athena's companionship became a symbol of mentorship, the bond between wisdom and human courage. She was the quiet voice that says, "Think first, then act," when the world cries out for rash action. In the tales of Odysseus and Perseus, her nature shone. Wisdom is the greatest companion on any journey. The heroes who listened to her grew not only victorious, but wiser, carrying lessons to future generations. Athena's gift was not victory itself, but the knowledge of how victory can be won through thought. Even today, her presence is remembered in every story where cleverness overcomes raw might. She reminds us that no hero stands alone, Wisdom walks with those who dare to listen and learn. In guiding mortals, Athena became more than a goddess. She became a teacher, a mentor, and a friend. Her stories remind us that the brightest victories are shaped not by chance, but by ideas carefully sown. And so, Athena's light continues to shine, wherever wisdom and courage walk hand in hand. Athena's gifts were not only for warriors and kings, but also for those who shaped the world with their hands. She was the goddess who guided artisans, builders, and weavers, lifting simple skills into acts of creation. For Athena, every tool was more than wood and stone. It was an idea shaped into something lasting and useful. She inspired the loom, a simple frame of wood that could weave threads into cloth, strong, fine, and beautiful. Mortals who once covered themselves in rough hides learned, through her, to make garments soft and enduring. The act of weaving became sacred, a dance of patience and order, each thread a step in a greater design. Athena herself was said to weave, her hands steady, her patterns glowing with wisdom and divine elegance. Her cloths were not only garments, but symbols of harmony, balance, and the interlacing of thought and art. To her, weaving was not just craft, but a reflection of life, where every choice became part of a larger design. She taught that skill is not separate from wisdom, but one of its purest and most beautiful expressions. Mortal weavers honored her, whispering prayers as they worked, hoping to echo her steady grace. Builders, too, found guidance in Athena, for she inspired the shaping of wood and stone into temples. She gave them the knowledge of balance, of line and measure, of turning vision into sturdy form. Under her blessing, cities rose with order and beauty, blending strength with harmony and proportion. The Parthenon itself was later seen as her house, a testament to her guidance in art and structure. Athena's patronage showed mortals that creativity was as divine as war or law, worthy of honor and respect. She valued skill that lifted daily life, that gave people warmth, light, and the joy of crafted beauty. In her stories, mortals who challenged her in craft learned the seriousness of her gift to humanity. One such tale told of Arachne, a mortal weaver of rare talent who claimed to surpass even the goddess. Athena appeared not to crush her, but to test her, weaving side by side, showing patterns of divine grace. Arachne's work was bold, skillful, and daring. Yet her pride blinded her to the deeper meaning of craft. Though her talent was great, Athena reminded mortals that art is not only about skill, but also about respect. From this tale, mortals learned humility, that gifts are best used with reverence, not arrogance. Athena's weaving thus became both a gift and a lesson, shaping not only hands, but also hearts. Her presence among artisans was gentle, like a quiet mentor watching over every thread and stroke. She gave inspiration, yet left space for mortals to grow, to shape, and to add their own imagination. Through her, creativity was not separate from wisdom. It was its living branch, ever growing and renewing. Athena's spirit lived in the workshop, in the rhythm of the hammer, the hum of the spindle, the cut of stone. Every crafted tool, every woven cloth, carried a whisper of her guidance and her bright ideas. She showed that even small works, made with patience, could carry beauty and change the world around them. Her name became a blessing for artists, a reminder that creation itself was sacred, worthy of divine honor. Athena taught that the mind's brilliance shines not only in great plans, but in the steady work of hands. Her story told mortals that to create is to share in the divine, to make lasting light from simple things. Thus, Athena became the eternal patron of crafts and arts, the guardian of skill and the muse of makers. Her wisdom was woven into every loom, carved into every stone, and echoed in every song of creation. Through her, mortals learned that bright ideas are not only thoughts, but works shaped into living form. And so, wherever a craftsman lifts a tool, or a weaver guides a thread, Athena's spirit still shines. Athena's wisdom was not only for heroes and artisans, but also for cities, where many lives intertwined each day. She became the guardian of Athens, a city that carried her name and honored her with temples and festivals. The story of how she gained this city is one of cleverness, a contest of gifts between gods for mortal devotion. Poseidon, lord of the sea, struck the earth with his trident and brought forth a spring of salty water. His gift was powerful, a sign of might and endless seas. But it was not what the people truly needed. Athena, with calm grace, stepped forward and planted the first olive tree into the rocky soil of the land. Her gift was quiet, yet lasting, offering food, oil, and wood, blessings for life, trade, and peace. The people saw the wisdom in her gift, a gift that would nourish their lives for generations to come. Thus the city became hers, named Athens, shining as a beacon of wisdom, balance, and bright ideas. The olive tree stood as her symbol, reminding mortals that true power lies in sustenance and peace. From then on, Athens flourished under her protection, growing into a city of culture, knowledge, and art. Temples rose in her honor, most famously the Parthenon, where her spirit was said to dwell among the people. Athena was not only a goddess in the sky, but a presence woven into the very life of the city itself. Festivals such as the Panathenea celebrated her, with music, races, and offerings of woven garments. Citizens honored her not through war, but through creativity, games, and the harmony of shared community. Her role as a city's guardian reflected her wisdom, to guide many hearts toward unity and lasting strength. She taught that cities, like looms, are woven from many threads, each person a strand in the larger design. Athens thrived as a place of philosophy, where minds asked questions about life, truth, and the cosmos. Athena's spirit inspired thinkers who sought not only answers, but better ways of living together. Under her influence, the city became a cradle of ideas that would echo far beyond its marble walls. She showed mortals that strength does not only lie in armies, but in the strength of thought and community. Athens became a symbol of her ideals, where art, philosophy, and knowledge walked hand in hand. Her wisdom was in every olive tree that shaded the streets, every crafted stone, every gathered crowd. The goddess of bright ideas was more than a guardian. She was the heartbeat of a city of learning. People looked to her for guidance, not only in battle, but in daily life, in choices that shaped the future. Her olive tree, still honored today, stood as a living reminder of her gift of sustenance and peace. The contest with Poseidon showed that true gifts are not measured by power, but by enduring usefulness. Athena's victory was not about conquest, but about seeing what mortals truly needed to thrive. That lesson carried through Athens for centuries, shaping a culture of wisdom, democracy, and art. Her city became a mirror of her own nature, thoughtful, inventive, and forever reaching toward the light. Athena's presence in Athens became eternal, living not in statues, but in the minds of its people. She guided them in their councils, their debates, their plays, and their endless search for knowledge. Her influence taught them that bright ideas, once planted, could grow stronger than any wall or army. The olive tree became not just a tree, but a symbol of life shaped by wisdom, patience, and peace. In Athens, Athena's legacy was not a distant myth, but a living truth carried in every stone and thought. Her city became a testament that the greatest power lies not in force, but in the wisdom to endure. And so Athena shone not only as a goddess above, but as the spirit of a city alive with ideas. Athena's wisdom also lived in stories of justice, where balance mattered more than strength or fear. She was often called upon when mortals faced disputes too tangled for swords or simple laws to solve. Unlike gods of thunder or fire, she brought clarity, guiding hearts toward fairness, reason, and harmony. One of the most famous tales was the trial of Orestes, a man caught in a storm of family and fate. Orestes carried a heavy burden, pursued by the Furies for a crime born from grief and vengeance. The matter could not be settled by force, for both sides carried claims of duty and ancient justice. Athena, seeing the turmoil, offered a new path, not endless revenge, but judgment through reason. She gathered citizens together and formed the first jury, a circle of mortals to weigh truth with fairness. The Furies raged, demanding punishment, yet Athena's calm voice urged balance, not blind fury. She reminded all that justice must heal as well as punish, or else the wound would never close. The jurors listened, torn between fear of the Furies and trust in Athena's shining wisdom. When their votes were cast, the result was tied, and all eyes turned to Athena for the final word. With grace, she cast her vote for mercy, choosing to honor balance and the possibility of renewal. Her choice did not erase the pain, but it opened a way forward, a chance for peace and growth. The Furies, though fierce, were given honor and a place within the city, guardians of justice transformed. Athena's wisdom turned vengeance into balance, shaping a vision of justice that valued life and renewal. This tale became a cornerstone for mortals, a reminder that law must rise above anger and pride. Athena showed that true justice is not about victory, but about restoring harmony where it is broken. Her act gave Athens a model of courts and juries, where reasoned voices could decide with fairness. She planted the idea that order is strongest when many share in its making, not when one rules by fear. Athena's gift was not only the olive tree, but the seed of law, growing into councils and democracy. Her role in Orestes' trial revealed her nature, a goddess who believed wisdom must guide even justice. She was not blind to pain, but she saw further, knowing that cycles of revenge destroy both sides. By offering a new way, she gave mortals the power to shape their own laws with thought and care. Athena's justice was never cold or cruel. It was measured, thoughtful, and aimed at healing divisions. She believed that wisdom in law could lift humanity, giving them the strength to live in peace together. This was her vision for Athens, not just a city of art, but a city where fairness guided its people. Her lessons whispered that bright ideas matter most when they bring light into the shadows of conflict. Athena's wisdom and justice reminds us that mercy and reason are not weakness, but true strength. Her presence in the courts of Athens lived on, shaping debates, decisions, and the search for truth. The image of a goddess casting her vote became a symbol of balance between divine and human law. Through her, mortals learned that justice is not a weapon, but a light to guide them toward harmony. Every trial that followed carried a shadow of her voice, steady, patient, urging wisdom over anger. The trial of Orestes was not just one man's fate, but the beginning of a new path for humanity. Athena's hand shaped that path, showing that even in conflict, ideas can heal where force cannot. Her story stands as a beacon, reminding us that true justice is born from wisdom, not vengeance. And so, Athena's bright ideas continue to shine, guiding cities and hearts toward peace and fairness. Athena's wisdom was not bound to courts or cities alone. It also stretched across seas and open horizons. She was the guiding star for sailors, explorers, and those who dared to chart paths where none had gone before. To mortals who feared the unknown waters, she brought courage, showing that thought could tame even chaos. Athena was not a goddess of storms, but of navigation, of clever minds who turned danger into discovery. She whispered to captains to read the skies, the winds, and the waves as if they were words on a scroll. Every star became a clue, every shift of the breeze a message, when seen with the clarity she inspired. Through her, mortals learned that the sea was not an enemy, but a vast teacher with endless lessons. She reminded them that bright ideas often come in the stillness between waves, in silence before dawn. One tale tells of Jason and the Argonauts, who sought the golden fleece on a perilous journey. Though many gods played their parts, it was Athena who inspired the building of the ship Argo. The Argo was no ordinary vessel. It was crafted with skill, balance, and wisdom in every plank and nail. Its prow carried a piece of sacred oak that could speak, guiding the crew with words of counsel. This gift of Athena made the ship more than wood and sail. It became a companion, a voice of wisdom. She did not row with the men, but her spirit steered them, reminding them to think before they acted. When the crew quarreled, her influence cooled tempers, urging unity for the sake of the greater quest. When fear rose like a tide, she breathed courage, not by force, but by planting ideas of hope and trust. Athena's guidance in voyages was not about avoiding storms, but about teaching sailors to endure them. She showed that courage is not the absence of fear, but the wisdom to face it with steady resolve. Her light lived in every compass, every sail raised with faith, every journey that sought discovery. Mortals came to believe that invoking her name brought safe passage and clever thought in dire times. Beyond great myths, sailors in small boats prayed to her, hoping for calm seas and guiding stars. Athena's wisdom spread like ripples, touching not just heroes, but every soul who dared to travel far. She embodied the spirit of exploration, to step into the unknown with a mind sharpened by reason. Her stories told that even when seas were wild, an idea could be the anchor that steadied the heart. Athena reminded mortals that the world was vast, but not beyond the reach of knowledge and courage. She inspired not conquest of the sea, but respect for it, seeing it as a partner rather than an enemy. In her presence, every voyage became more than a journey. It became a lesson in patience and thought. She was the calm voice that said, "Look closer. Read the signs. Trust the wisdom within you." Through her, exploration became sacred, a meeting of human daring and divine insight. The ship Argo sailed because Athena believed mortals could rise beyond fear with cleverness and unity. Every oar that struck the water echoed with her blessing, a rhythm of courage and thoughtful design. In every journey, she planted the truth that the mind is the greatest vessel, stronger than any storm. Athena's role as a navigator of souls made her beloved not only by heroes, but by all who wandered. She became the goddess of safe harbors, of bright horizons, of paths that stretched into the unknown. Her legacy in voyages was not maps or treasures, but the wisdom to see every challenge as a teacher. Even now, her name calls to us in moments of uncertainty, when the road ahead feels wide and strange. She reminds us that the sea of life is vast, but every step can be guided by ideas that shine. And so Athena's light continues to steer wherever mortals lift their eyes to the horizon and dream. Athena's wisdom shone brightest in times of learning, where curiosity was the spark of every new path. She believed that knowledge was not a treasure to hoard, but a flame to be shared, warming many hearts. In her presence, scholars and teachers found courage to ask questions, even when answers were uncertain. Athena whispered that wonder is the first step toward wisdom, and questions are the doors to discovery. She inspired the founding of schools, where young minds gathered to learn from elders and from each other. Under her gaze, stone walls of simple rooms became temples of thought, filled with voices of learning. She encouraged mortals to look at the stars, the soil, the rivers, and see patterns hidden in plain sight. The rhythm of the seasons, the turning of the moon, the flight of birds, all became lessons in her light. One tale tells of a boy who asked why the olive tree grew strong even in rocky, barren ground. Athena appeared in his dream, smiling, and told him that strength comes from adapting, not resisting. The boy grew to teach farmers new ways to care for their land, wisdom born from a simple question. Athena's gift was not only answers, but the courage to keep asking, to never stop seeking the truth. In her temples, libraries were born, scrolls gathered like seeds ready to sprout into new ideas. She guided scribes to copy words carefully, preserving stories, laws, and discoveries for generations. Through her, learning became a bridge across time, letting mortals speak with voices long past. Athena reminded them that to learn is to honor both the past and the future waiting to be shaped. She was also the patron of crafts, where skill and thought came together in harmony of hand and mind. Every loom that wove, every pot that turned, every tool that shaped stone carried a spark of her gift. She showed that making is a form of learning, that hands teach the mind as much as books and scrolls. The hum of work in villages and cities was, in her eyes, the music of wisdom in motion. Athena's love for knowledge was not prideful but generous, meant to lift all who sought her guidance. She urged mortals to share what they knew, to teach children, neighbors, even strangers with open hearts. For she believed that knowledge locked away was like a light hidden under stone, wasted and unseen. In Athens, schools blossomed, guided by her spirit, where philosophy and science began to bloom. Great thinkers spoke of reason, justice, and the nature of the world, each echoing Athena's clarity. She walked unseen among them, delighting in every spark of thought that lit up a student's eyes. Her wisdom told them that to know the world is to also know themselves, their hopes, their limits. She whispered that wisdom without kindness is hollow, for knowledge must serve life, not harm it. Mortals came to see her as a guardian of both thought and compassion, weaving them into one cloth. Her presence in learning was gentle, a steady reminder that even mistakes are steps toward truth. Athena taught that failure is not an end, but a teacher, shaping courage to try again with more care. In every question asked, in every scroll unrolled, her light flickered, urging seekers to go deeper. She made knowledge a path open to all, not just kings or priests, but anyone who dared to learn. Athena's bright ideas planted the roots of schools, libraries, and the endless quest for understanding. Her story tells us that wisdom grows when shared, just as a flame grows brighter when passed on. And so, her gift to mortals was not only the olive tree nor the laws of justice, but the love of learning. Through her, humanity discovered that ideas are the greatest harvest, feeding minds for all time. Her light continues to shine wherever a question is asked and a heart dares to seek its answer. Athena's wisdom often revealed itself through art, where beauty carried meaning deeper than words could reach. She was the muse of painters, sculptors, poets, and musicians, who found in her a light for their creations. To Athena, art was not decoration, but reflection, a mirror of thought, spirit, and the heart of a people. Her gift was the power to turn stone, clay, and song into vessels of truth that lived beyond their makers. She whispered to mortals that beauty is not only in form, but in the harmony that speaks to the soul. Every brushstroke, every chisel strike, every verse was touched by her gentle and guiding presence. Athena was often seen standing by weavers, for weaving was her art of choice, a dance of mind and hand. Threads became more than fabric. They told stories, carried symbols, and wove memory into daily life. One tale tells of her challenge with Arachne, a mortal whose skill at weaving grew bold and unmatched. Arachne wove with such mastery that whispers spread she rivaled the goddess herself in beauty of craft. When Athena appeared in disguise, she asked the young woman to honor the gods through her art. But Arachne, proud and fearless, declared her talent her own, owing nothing to divine inspiration. The contest that followed was not one of cruelty, but of creation, where fabric spoke more than words. Athena's tapestry showed the glory of Olympus, gods and goddesses in harmony and splendor. Arachne's weaving, flawless and bold, told of mortal suffering, of gods' mistakes, and hidden truths. Her skill was undeniable, her threads as perfect as the goddess's own, glowing with human courage. Athena, though angered by her pride, could not deny the brilliance of Arachne's daring creation. Rather than destroy her, she transformed Arachne into the first spider, eternal weaver of delicate webs. The tale was less punishment than transformation, giving Arachne endless time to practice her art. It reminded mortals that art can question, reveal, and endure, beyond pride, fear, or fleeting fame. Athena's role was not to silence, but to guide, turning even defiance into a new form of creation. Through weaving, she taught that every thread in life connects, each choice part of a greater design. Her lesson lived on in looms across the world, where hands shaped beauty from patience and thought. Athena also loved poetry, for in verse she heard the rhythm of wisdom carried like song on the wind. She guided poets to use their words not only for praise, but to ask, to reflect, to stir hearts awake. In her presence, music gained depth, becoming more than sound. It became a dialogue of soul and spirit. She reminded mortals that art is both question and answer, a bridge between silence and expression. Every statue raised in her honor, every mural painted, every lyre played carried a piece of her vision. Her temples stood not just as shrines, but as galleries where craft, beauty, and thought lived together. In Athens, art flourished under her gaze, shaping the city into a beacon of culture and creativity. She showed mortals that art could outlast empires, that beauty woven with meaning would never fade. For Athena, a vase was not only clay, but a canvas telling stories of gods, heroes, and daily lives. She revealed that even small works, an ornament, a song, a tale, could hold great wisdom within them. Athena's gift of art was a reminder that creation is sacred, each act of beauty a spark of the divine. Through her, mortals saw that art and wisdom are twins, each reflecting truth in its own bright way. The story of Athena and Arachne spread as both warning and blessing, urging respect for inspiration. Yet it also whispered that even mortals hold the power to create works that rival the stars in wonder. Athena's presence in art was enduring, shaping cultures, guiding hands, and lighting the path of beauty. She remains a symbol of creativity joined with reason, where every bright idea becomes a lasting form. And so her legacy shines not only in battles won or laws made, but in every piece of art that speaks. Through Athena, we learn that to create is to honor life itself, weaving ideas into forms that endure. As our story draws to its close, we return to the heart of Athena, goddess of wisdom and bright ideas. Her presence was never only in temples, nor only in myths told by fireside or in marble halls. She lived in the quiet courage of mortals who chose reason over anger, kindness over pride. Athena's gift was not the sword, but the spark of thought, the clarity that lights a darkened path. Through her, cities were built not just of stone, but of ideas that shaped how people lived together. She showed that true strength is born not from force, but from patience, fairness, and creativity. Her olive tree stood as a symbol, its roots deep in the earth, its branches reaching toward the sky. It reminded mortals that wisdom too grows, grounded in truth, stretching always toward light. Athena was not distant. She was near in every bright idea, in every choice shaped by thoughtful care. Her voice echoed in courtrooms, guiding justice, and in classrooms, urging curiosity and learning. She walked beside sailors at sea, scholars at work, artists at their craft, always inspiring balance. Her power was not in conquest, but in harmony, where mind and heart found strength together. Athena's legacy is not locked in the past, but alive wherever mortals dare to think with courage. She whispers to us still, in every question asked, in every act of fairness, in every dream pursued. Her myths remind us that even gods teach through stories, showing paths we might choose to walk. Athena's light was never meant to blind, but to guide, soft and steady. Like a lantern in the dark, she taught that wisdom is not hoarded but shared. Like a flame passed from one hand to another. Through her, mortals learned that ideas endure longer than monuments, stronger than empires. Athena showed us that peace is not weakness, but the deepest strength born of understanding. Her legacy shines in the courage to forgive, in the patience to listen, in the will to build anew. Even now, her presence can be felt when we pause to choose thought over haste, reason over rage. She is the goddess of bright ideas, and every generation finds her in their own time of need. Athena belongs to no single age, but to all who search for truth with open eyes and steady hearts. Her olive tree grows still, its fruit a gift, its shade a comfort, its roots a reminder of her wisdom. She stands as a guardian, not of battlefields, but of minds, where the greatest victories are won. Through her, we see that every choice matters, that each step can shape a better, kinder world. Athena's story is not one of endings, but of beginnings, always renewing with each new idea. She is the quiet voice within us, asking, what if there is a wiser way? What if there is light here? Her myth endures not as memory, but as a mirror, reflecting the best of what we might become. Athena's gift is not distant or divine alone. It lives in us when we choose thought over fear. The goddess of wisdom is never gone, for wisdom itself is timeless, moving through every age. Her story, carried through centuries, reminds us that we too are part of the weaving of life. Each of us holds a thread, and with it, the chance to weave something lasting, something bright. Athena showed that life is a tapestry, and every idea, every act, adds color and meaning. The end of her tale is only the beginning of ours, as long as her light guides our steps. And so we leave her not in farewell, but in gratitude, her wisdom echoing in our own bright ideas.